Now, let me ask you about
That means that when you answer, say you don't want to see Gaza reoccupied by Israel, you also don't want the West Bank occupied by Israel, right?
We want to see establishment of an independent Palestinian state in Israel. Yes, correct.
So you don't want the Israelis to be occupying the West Bank.
We want it to be.
Right.
We want it to be ultimately its own independent Palestinian state occupied by Israel, not occupied by Israel or anybody else. No, we want to see it governed by Palestinians.
And then just secondly, and I've asked this, and I know others have asked this before, but when you talk about how you want a ceasefire in Gaza so that people can return to their neighborhoods and their homes, how many neighborhoods and homes do you think are left for them to return to?
So by various estimates, somewhere around half the buildings, maybe a little over half the buildings in
50%.
Gaza have been destroyed or damaged. There are other buildings, obviously, that remain, and we want to see people be able to return to their neighborhoods. And if they don't have homes, we want to see the ability to rebuild them, which is why one of the pieces we have said has to be a priority for the ultimate end of this conflict is reconstruction effort, so people can rebuild their neighborhoods and rebuild their homes, because the devastation has been absolutely catastrophic
Then
across Gaza.
who do you think should pay for that?
Ultimately, it would require an international effort with multiple countries contributing. We don't. Obviously, that's the kind of thing that would have to be worked out. We're not at that stage yet, because we're not even at the end of the conflict.
Okay, fine. But what countries should be included in this?
It's the type of thing that will be the subject of many diplomatic conversations.
Can I get to the very specific point here? Do you think Israel should contribute to this?
I think we are a long way from the reconstruction of Gaza, and I'm not going to make any pronouncements from the podium about who should pay for the reconstruction before we get into what would be a diplomat.
I'm not asking who should pay, if someone should pay for everything, but who should contribute? Would the U.S. be willing to contribute?
It's not something we can speak to because these are conversations that will happen well down the road.
Let me just continue with a couple of questions. Although it was Israel that dropped close to 50,000 tons of bombs on Gaza, rendering where it is now. So maybe they ought to pay for it.
In response to a war that Hamas started. So maybe
okay,
Hamas should pay to rebuild Gaza. I mean, it's a complicated question is the point.